As healthcare professionals, we all work in a complex environment, an environment in which complex interactions take place between human beings and other human beings on the one hand, and between human beings and machines or technology on the other hand. And in such a complex environment, the potential for critical events to occur is enormous. And the way that we behave at the time of those critical events has a profound impact on clinical outcomes and patient safety. In a nutshell, that's what human factors is all about. It's about the way that we interact with our environment, with other human beings, and with machines or technology, and the effect that that interaction has on outcomes and patient safety. That is the essence of why human factors is so important. It is central to patient safety and the quality of care that we give our patients. The science of human factors is therefore critically important to patient safety and quality of care.
Error and Safety in Acute Healthcare is a 15-credit module. In this introductory module, we take a systems perspective on the issue of patient safety. This is a foundation module, and the seminal literature will be explored in depth. The module aims to introduce scholars to models, theories, and frameworks and methodologies of human factors in healthcare, present the evidence around error and harm in healthcare, explore the notion of hospitals as complex socio-technical systems, and explore the notion of organisational culture and its relevance to healthcare. Personal Effectiveness and Non-Technical Skills is a 15-credit module. This module will focus on the factors that contribute to improving personal effectiveness and team performance in healthcare. These factors are known as non-technical skills and include personal resource skills such as stress coping strategies and resilience, cognitive skills of decision-making and situation awareness, and interpersonal skills of leadership, teamwork, and communication. All of these factors will be explored in this module.
The RCSI Human Factors in Patient Safety Academy are hosting a conference on September 23rd, which is a Friday, from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. This conference is open to everyone, and we are having two very exciting keynote speakers, Mr. Martin Bromley and Mr. Peter Duffy, followed by a discussion on the Irish context. This is an event you do not want to miss. For more information, scan the QR code below. And see you there.
Leadership of Process and Quality Improvement is a 5-credit module. The discipline of process and quality improvement is concerned with improving the quality and safety of healthcare services. In this module, the theoretical principles and the practical strategies behind quality improvement will be explored in depth. Scholars will build on theory, principles and techniques learned in this module to design a quality improvement project tackling a real healthcare problem. Professionalism and Advanced Communication is a 15-credit module. In this module, we explore key areas of professionalism, such as relationships with patients, relationships with society, ethical practice, honesty and integrity, continuity of care, consent, evidence-based medicine, and scholarship. In addition, this module seeks to introduce scholars to the principles and practice of advanced communication. Scholars will develop the skills to tackle difficult interactions with patients and relatives, such as breaking bad news and discussing end-of-life care. Other advanced skills include shared decision-making, obtaining consent, and open disclosure. Research Methods is a 10-credit module. This module is designed to provide an overview of research methods and design for clinical, social science and quality improvement research. The module will introduce scholars to the major research paradigms and help them to identify the correct paradigm for their own research dissertation. The module will explore the principles and practice of qualitative, quantitative and mixed methods research, and the rationale for choosing each approach. Some of you may already be competent researchers. I hope that you will find this course is a useful refresher and will provide you with an understanding of where human factors research sits in relation to other research paradigms. Additionally, we hope to support scholarship skills, not just for the research component of this programme, but also for the scholar's entire career. Advanced Research Methods and Dissertation is a 30-credit module. In this module, scholars will engage in an advanced research methods course and then undertake an independent research or quality improvement project. The Advanced Research Methods course consists of asynchronous lectures, which the scholar can access at any time. There is a series of 12 lectures to support the scholar to write the 3 written submissions required in this module. In addition, scholars can avail of a series of advanced methodology lectures developed and provided by experts in their fields, which will support scholars in the planning and execution of their research project. These lectures cover the following topics: qualitative research, quantitative research, systematic review, and human reliability analysis and pragmatic research techniques. The research component of the module involves undertaking an independent and original research or quality improvement project. This project is the pinnacle of the MSc in Human Factors and Patient Safety and will integrate the knowledge and skills acquired throughout the rest of the programme. Their dissertation will be submitted as a ready-for-publication research paper plus an extended literature review.
Welcome to the Human Factors in Patient Safety information session online. My name is Professor Eva Doherty and I'm Director of Human Factors in Patient Safety at the RCSI University of Medicine and Health Sciences. In this session, you will learn about the science of human factors in healthcare, and you'll get an overview of the program we offer here at RCSI. I hope you really enjoy the event. This is an online information session about the postgraduate diploma leading to a master's in human factors and patient safety at RCSI. My name is Professor Eva Doherty and I'm the program director, and I'm going to tell you about some important milestones that we have had in our program, and I'm also going to explain a little bit about what you would be studying on the program should you choose to join us. So we launched the program in 2010. At that point, it was for surgeons only. And in 2016, we welcomed all health professionals onto the program. Because of the pandemic in 2020, we went online and we've decided to stay online. Last year in 2021, we also launched the Human Factors in Patient Safety Academy. And this is a group for everybody who has studied on the program or who is a current scholar, and you would be entitled to be part of this academy should you choose to join us. We had a really successful online conference last year, and we're having another one this year in the college face-to-face on September 23rd. And we're delighted to welcome two really exciting keynote speakers. That is Mr. Martin Bromley, who you'll hear about, and also Mr. Peter Duffy. So do check that out online and on Twitter. So the online program, as I say, is interprofessional, it's part-time and it's online. And it's open to all healthcare professionals in the care of who look after hospital patients. So you'll attend online interactive sessions and workshops 1 day a month. And the rest of the program is a combination of discussion boards and independent reading, and you can access all this in your own time. So what we aim to do is to give you a comprehensive understanding of error, risk, and safety in healthcare. We also intend to equip you with the social, the cognitive, and the personal resource skills necessary to be safe and effective healthcare workers, but also team leaders. And we want to give you expertise in how to conduct patient safety research and quality improvement initiatives in healthcare. So the objective for today is to introduce the concept of human factors important for safety in healthcare. And I have a slide here showing what is called the Swiss cheese model of error in healthcare. And this model was proposed by Professor Reason, who has been a really important researcher in this area. And what he says is that in healthcare, while there should be safety nets or screens or barriers, if you like, which catch human error or any kind of error and stop it actually causing harm or leading to an accident, however, there can be holes in these barriers. And when all these holes line up on a particular day at a particular time, that can lead to an accident and that can lead to harm. So human factors is concerned with the relationship between human beings and the systems with which they interact. This is a very, very simple definition, but one which we like to use and which comes from a very important report which you will study called To Err is Human. First published in 1999, and unfortunately demonstrated that while we might like to think that healthcare is safe, unfortunately, that is not so. Patient safety, then, this is a definition from Charles Vincent, is concerned with the avoidance, the prevention, and amelioration of adverse outcomes or injuries stemming from healthcare. The goal is to minimize adverse events and eliminate preventable harm in healthcare. And so the word here is harm. We use the word harm rather than error. And you'll see this is an interesting photograph here of someone who unfortunately is going to have knee surgery done to the wrong knee because the wrong knee has been marked. So the basic premise of the science of human factors is that human beings are fallible and error is inevitable. And that's really what we have to accept. We're not after zero error here because that's just not possible. They're going to happen. And really the trick here is going to be to introduce particular structures and processes in the workplace that will try to minimize the likelihoods. So let me ask you this question. What percentage of hospital admissions do you think is going to encounter an adverse event? Is it 10%, is it 5%, or is it 30%? You might be surprised to know that in Ireland, and this is the case really in most countries in the world, certainly in the Western countries, is that 1 in every 10 hospital admissions are going to encounter an adverse event. So 1 in 10, that is quite serious. I'm sure you will agree. And I don't think any of us would like those kinds of odds if we were getting on an airplane. 70% of these have deemed to be preventable. And that's a figure that comes up time and time again in terms of human factors in all industries. 70% are deemed to be preventable. 10% of the adverse events led to permanent impairment, and 7% of them actually contributed to the patient's death. Now, these are frightening statistics, and they are reasonably up to date. Here's two references to 2 recent studies published in Ireland. They're published in the BMJ Quality and Safety Journal, and you can read about them in that journal. This program is fully online. So we've had scholars from all around the world, including the Middle East, Southeast Asia, from Australia, Europe, and the UK. So what's the situation around the world? Well, unfortunately, I'm afraid the situation is the same. And these are images from some very important publications published over 20 years ago with very similar statistics, unfortunately. So we're not any different. And whatever jurisdiction you're from is probably going to be, very similar, perhaps even worse. And where are we now? Well, there were great promises made at the time of those publications, that within the next 5 years, we can all work together and make healthcare safer. But unfortunately, that is not what has happened. And really, it has to do with the fact that it is just so complex. It's way more complex than, say, safety in the airline industry or in the oil industry, or even in the military. And that is because you have teams, you have individuals, you have environments and organizations, and they're all interacting to deliver care to the patient, who is complex in themselves. This is a very famous case study that we will go through with you pretty early on in your studies. This is the case of Elaine Bromley, who is the wife of Martin Bromley, who I mentioned earlier, who will be speaking at our conference coming up this year. And through a combination of very, very unfortunate adverse events and human error, Elaine Bromley died while undergoing what was really a very simple procedure. And we will go through this case study with you to show you the layers, that are in healthcare that surround the patient. So the work environment and equipment, the individuals, the team, the organization, the societal, the cultural, the regulatory influences. And this is a nice model that we use from the WHO to try to understand all the different layers that surround a patient in healthcare. This is a really nice example of somebody who has looked at the environmental issues. This is the work of Theodore Grancharoff in Toronto. This is his brand new emergency department in that university hospital there. And you can see how fabulously. The environment is all laid out with tape on the ground to indicate who should be, inside those areas beside the patient. Everything is laid out and has its own place. Things are not allowed to be, in the way. Everything is labeled, as you can see there. The plan is laid out for the pre-arrival team briefing in terms of getting ready for the patient who may be coming in an ambulance. And even the presence of a black box in the emergency department, which is relatively new concept, but is certainly going to be in healthcare in your career lifetime, both in the operating theatre, perhaps even the wards, and also the emergency departments, so that we can analyse, how things have gone wrong, how the processes need to be improved. This is an example of, what the kinds of things that need to be changed from the point of view of equipment. Here's two medication bottles that you can see look incredibly similar, but would have totally different effects. And you can appreciate how in a rush, somebody might grab the wrong one. And this is why we have to have checks and protocols. And it's all about minimizing the probability that harm will come to a patient. So the problem here is that the human brain is not reliable. We might like to think it is, but it isn't. It takes shortcuts, and actually those shortcuts serve us very well. If you step off a pavement and you see a shadow in the corner of your eye, you need to be able to step back very quickly in case it might be a car. But our brain interprets everything. It's continually putting meaning onto everything it sees, and sometimes that can be incorrect. So to give you an example, here's a picture here, and maybe you might like to see whether you see an old lady or do you see a young girl. Both are potentially visible. Equally, what about this one? Do you see a rabbit or do you see a duck? So our brain is continually interpreting, and one person will see a rabbit, one person will see a duck. Here's a nice video that also explains the way our brains can let us down.
To test just how much attention the attention-stealing design of the new Skoda Fabia actually steals, we left one parked on this ordinary road in West London. We wanted to see if its sharp crystalline shapes, bold lines, and lower, wider profile would attract the desired level of attention. Will the 17-inch black alloy wheels stop passers-by in their tracks? Will the angular headlights attract the attention of other road users? Will a crowd gather to check out its fresh, sporty look? Well, not quite. But did the attention-stealing design distract you from noticing that the entire street has been changing right before your very eyes? Don't believe us? Have another look. Did you spot the van changing to a taxi? How about the scooter changing to a pair of bicycles? Or the lady holding a pig? Let alone the fact that the entire street is now completely different. Didn't think so. So there we have it. Proof that the new Skoda Fabia is truly attention-stealing.
And also proof that our brain is not as accurate as we might like to think. Okay, so focusing in now on the human brain and how it can become influenced by stress, by time pressure, by individual perceptions. Let's take a look at what can be done to compensate for these effects. So one thing that we teach in a crisis is the importance of having a hands-off leader, somebody who can watch everything that's going on and isn't going to be distracted. Huddles and what-if conversations are really good ways of trying to figure out, what's important coming up for the day today, what might go wrong, and what should we put in place to perhaps catch an error or an adverse event. The use of checklists and protocols, although they might seem to take up a lot of time, they've been proven to be incredibly effective. A very famous one, which you may have heard of, is the WHO safety checklist, which is used in operating theatres. The idea of having 10 for 10 conversations. So let's take 10 seconds now to just plan for the next 10 minutes and what's important, and summarising where we are so that everybody can hear what everybody else is thinking. Closed loop feedback. So if I give an instruction to somebody to make a phone call to find out about something, that person comes back to me and said, I've made that phone call, this is what I found out. Out loud thinking. I think the reason why this patient is not improving is because of XYZ. Psychological safety and speaking up. This is absolutely incredible for team performance and for catching the possibility of errors and near misses. So this programme is open to all healthcare professionals who care for the patient in acute hospital settings. And we value the fact that it is interprofessional because it allows scholars to appreciate the topic of human factors in patient safety from differing perspectives. One important topic that is perhaps quite controversial and maybe not known much about by the public is the incidence of what we call bad behaviour in healthcare environments. The level of bullying, rudeness, etc., which has very serious consequences for patient care and also for health professionals, stress and burnout. It might surprise you to know that 80% of people will lose time worrying about a conversation which they experience to be rude. 38% will reduce the quality of their work, and 48% will reduce the time they spend at work. And 25% will take it out on service users. Even being a witness of rude behaviour will result in a 20% deterioration in your performance and a 50% decrease in your willingness to help other people. Service users themselves have been shown to demonstrate a 75% less enthusiasm for the organisation that they're in. And this is well-established research. And there is a website called Civility Saves Lives that you can check out with some really good TED Talks on it. So this is something that we address as a matter of really, of importance. So how do you promote psychological safety in teams? Well, it really does come down to the leadership. Leaders should be curious, they should be humble, and they should be non-blaming. They should be good at taking perspectives of others. They should encourage team reflection by having these drills and huddles. And they should facilitate increased contact time between team members. So maybe by, managing the rosters so that people become more familiar with each other, and certainly not by portraying that they are all-knowing, that they do not welcome questions, and that they blame and get, hostile when things go wrong. And again, if you're interested in this topic, do check out Amy Edmondson on TED Talks. She has some really fascinating talks about this topic. In terms of communication, 70% of the time when something goes wrong, there will have been a problem with the communication somewhere along the line. And as George Bernard Shaw said, famous Irish writer, the single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it's taken place. And the communication skills that we teach on our program, which makes our program, quite unique to a lot of other patient safety programs, we teach the communication skills that are counterintuitive, not the ones that you already know from, just being a human being interacting with other human beings, but the ones that maybe you don't know or you don't think about, but certainly ones that you will recognize. And it has been shown that teaching people these skills to improve the patient-clinician relationship has very, very significant effects on patient outcomes. Look at this meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials published in 2014. This is my favorite review paper, which proves how important the influence of the patient-clinician relationship is. And up there on the right-hand side is what we call a forest diagram. And this is a diagram of the effect sizes. So you can see the magnitude of the effect. It's not just correlations, it's actually the magnitude of the effect. And look at that one down at the bottom right, which actually is the effect size of the study conducted for patients with obesity. Now, isn't that amazing that the most effective factor that influenced people losing weight was the nature of the patient-clinician relationship? And many more patient outcomes there too, which you can see on the left of the slide. So what are these counterintuitive skills that I'm talking about? Well, it's really important to introduce yourself. Easy to forget to do, easy to forget that the patient doesn't remember maybe from, an hour ago when you were speaking to them, but really, really important. And actually introducing yourselves to colleagues is very important. The use of empathy and the use of apology. So empathy is, I can see how worried you are. So naming that elephant in the room, saying out loud that you can see the emotion that the person is feeling. You don't have to understand it. And actually, we advise people not to say they understand what someone is feeling, because it's unlikely that you will understand how absolutely every scenario can affect someone. The use of apology. I'm sorry you've had to wait so long. I'm sorry we have to cancel your operation again. The value of identifying where someone is coming from the very start. What do you know about, having your gallbladder out? Have anybody in your family ever had this? The value of not interrupting. We know, for example, that doctors will interrupt patients after only 11 seconds. We also know that patients will actually stop talking if they're allowed to speak uninterrupted. They will stop after 90 seconds. The use of both open and closed questions. Tell me about your pain. And also the use of closed questions, which are also very valuable. Signposting. I'm going to tell you 3 really important things now about your operation. Non-verbal skills, as shown here in the picture. Having a lovely open posture rather than folding your arms or turning away from someone. Using simple language with no jargon, or if you do have to use a jargon word, you explain it. The use of periodic summarizing. Now, I just want to check that I understand so far what you're telling me. Is it? Etc. And then screening questions. Okay, so what else is bothering you? What else would you like to talk about today?
This program is fully flexible, and we require our scholars to meet with us online approximately once a month for online sessions, teaching sessions. And so we really are very aware of how busy healthcare professionals are, so it's possible to complete this program while working full-time.
So here's our timetable breakdown for all our modules, during which you learn about all these principles I've just been describing. We start off with a module on error and safety. And this will begin the last day of August and run until the end of October. And all our modules are 8 to 10 week modules, apart from one. Then you will do a module on personal effectiveness and non-technical skills. And then a module on the leadership of process and quality improvement. Module 4 is professionalism and advanced communication. And as I said before, this module and also the one on personal effectiveness are modules which are, quite unique to our program, but which we value very much and think are a very significant component of what makes up human factors in patient safety. And finally, you'll finish off with a module on research. And this is designed to equip you with the skills to come up with your own research study which hopefully you will want to pursue in the second year. So what do we require from prospective students of this program? Well, we need you to have a primary degree as described there at the level of 2.2 honour. We need you to be able to show us that you've been working in acute hospital care and you're currently working in acute hospital care. And we also need a certain standard of English. Here's some testimonials from some of our past students. Here's Claire Noonan, and she says, the Masters was relevant to every part of my clinical practice as a nurse and a manager. This course has changed my way of thinking and has given me an insight into healthcare and patient safety that I never had it before. And here's a quote from Dr. Sam Kwan. I found the Masters an excellent course for understanding system risk and human error. The individual modules combine well to provoke valuable reflection. A worthwhile course and ranks as one of my best educational experiences to date. And I have to say, it was really super getting to know both Sam and Claire, and we stay in touch through the academy, etc.
Hi, my name is Eva Doherty. I'm an anesthesiologist at the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, where I'm also a fellow in perioperative safety and management. I've completed the Masters in Human Factors and Patient Safety in RCSI, and I really enjoyed it. I found the course content to be thought-provoking and interesting, and I particularly enjoyed the section on communication, which is an area we don't get much training in general in healthcare. This Masters has helped me shape my future career path.
Okay, so our applications are open until the 3rd of August. We advise that you should think about applying as early as possible so that you're not disappointed should we be full up. And if you've got any queries, do email us there and have a look at our website and you'll get all the information that you need. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for attending the Human Factors in Patient Safety online information session, and I hope you enjoyed it. For more information, visit rcsi.com and look at the course page, and we're currently enrolling for the next academic year.